Welcome to the World Changer Podcast, where we get you off the sidelines, challenge your mindset, and get you to take action, no matter what's ahead. Come on, what are we waiting for? Let's go!
Hey, what's happening, guys? Welcome to World Changers. It's your host, Dan Fisher. Today, we're going solo. I know we took a route of a couple interviews, wanted to get that started with a bang. Have a couple more on its way, obviously. Just had one or two reschedules, and that created a gap. So what that does is that gives me some time to be solo with you guys, give you more of what I've experienced throughout my entire business career here on my own and before that. Today, I want to go over that anxiety feeling that we all feel today. We all go through it, and I want to talk about how our society has told us all to numb it or kind of ignore it, or you're not supposed to feel it. So let's break it down in a few ways here. Let's start with the basics. So what is this feeling of anxiousness or anxiety that you get? It's being uncomfortable. So there's obviously the medical condition of anxiety, and I'm not by any means trying to teach anything that's medically associated with this. Nor am I credited to. But what I'm just going to go off of is my own experiences with myself and people around me. So where I want to start is just seeing where that feeling comes from. And one way I could really visualize it for you guys is if you're thinking about the time whenever you were in, let's say, grade school or even elementary school, where you were about to make a speech and it's graded. And the teacher's going through, and you can see like checking off as he goes, with the people in front of you, and you get that feeling in your stomach where you're just like, I would rather not do this than put myself into this situation and feel this ultimately pain. And I think a lot of people don't realize that pain is very valuable if you can sit through it and push yourself to the next level and get through that certain circumstance, because on the other side is amazing rewards. I'll go into all of those later on, but the feeling that you get when you're in the class happens to everyone. It happened to me when I was cold calling for the first time, and I remember making my first cold call. I was so nervous. It was actually like a dog pet shop or something. And I went in and was going to be selling them newspaper ads and digital ads. And I just remember being so nervous. I was like, I don't even want to do this. I want to quit this job. But after I was done with it, I actually hit 7 of them that first day. So now, from me going from 0 to 7, I've got a little bit repetition under my belt, and the next day was easier, to the point where after 3 weeks, I didn't even feel anxious. I was just walking in every business. And I can go into different towns around Pittsburgh and be like, wow, I worked with them. And so like I took that one feeling where I was ready to quit. I really hated that feeling. It was terrible. And I stuck through it. I lived through it. I didn't numb it. And I went right into it and finished it. And it gave me a really amazing feeling of conquering that fear, which ultimately was what would have held me back. Like if I would have quit that, and I would have been like, maybe this job isn't for me, I'm honestly not sure if I would have become a business owner, because that was the one main thing that I was able to learn: sales. And sales is huge when you're owning a business, even though you don't necessarily think sales is everywhere. When you own a business, you're doing sales. So I needed to get through that fear. Now, when you look at people that are really successful, let's say Grant Cardone, who's uh, almost a billionaire. I think he might actually have $1 billion in assets now, but the fact that he has so much and he's done so much and he spoke in front of stadiums full of people, he actually gets nervous every time. And he's not putting himself in the same situation every time. So he's he's not going into classrooms where he's just teaching every time. He's still doing that. He definitely doesn't get nervous for those anymore. But now he's putting himself into a more challenging situation, which is the stadium. So he's actually chasing that fear feeling because he knows what it brings in the long run. And the I think the society with weed and prescription drugs is really dangerous to the point where they're really pushing a lot of I don't want to say brain numbing, but something very similar where it numbs that feeling. It gets you comfortable. And I don't know if it's necessarily a good thing. I know it's definitely necessary to use in the right way, and if you're medically cleared for it, absolutely. And I don't even care about the recreational use about it, but what I've seen it do with my friends is the people that want to numb from that feeling is they'll numb from what maybe one crazy instance, and then they'll be like, okay, well, if it can numb there, can it numb in, let's say, a family gathering? Maybe I get anxious at family gatherings. So then they start numbing there. And then they go into, um, maybe they go shopping and they're like, hey, shopping, I don't like when the salesperson comes up to me. It makes me nervous. So now they're numbing for three different situations, which are really just kind of everyday occurrences. And now the line becomes blurred between when you should numb your anxiety feeling, what's appropriate, and now you're doing it all the time. And next thing you know, you're losing sight of what your dreams were. You're losing sight of your maybe your professional career, maybe like just normal everyday tasks. You're starting to lose sight of those. And I think it's really important that we take a step back and realize, like, hey, if I'm going into these situations and just completely numbing myself all the time, is this actually going to be pushing me in the right direction, or is this going to be pushing me in a direction of just being comfortable to the point where I may lose my job. I might have to, just live on unemployment for a while. These are real things that I've seen happen, and real things that I've seen just with people around me, and it is really concerning. So I just want to make it apparent that that feeling, there can be a healthy dose of it. Um, on the other side of it, there's a medically cleared. Um, I mean, I feel like doctors are almost willing to give it to almost everyone, so you have to be careful there. But if you have it medically cleared, absolutely do what you need to do. Because I've seen it paralyze people to the point where they can't do anything, and that's where medication probably would help. So if the anxiety is so paralyzing to the point where you can't literally leave the couch, that's a problem. Um, and then you got to do it with the doctor, see what they have to say. Um, but in my opinion, I just seen it do so many great things for people once they push past it. And I'll be honest, I get it a lot. I mean, I'll get it for every interview. Like I'll just have to put myself in a breathing pattern, like take a deep breath and go right into the interview, and you know start out a little nervous. You guys can probably hear it starts out, maybe my first couple start out nervous, and while it goes through, it gets so much better. It turns into a conversation. Next thing you know, I don't even feel it anymore. And I'm sure I won't feel that maybe coming up, maybe after I do it for a year, but it takes the work to put in, it takes the repetition. Um, and so the benefits that come through are very rewarding, as I said in my experience. But if you look at, let's say, Grant Cardone, so he's now chasing that feeling. He's talking in front of stadiums. Next thing you know, he's got five multi-million businesses, multi-million dollar businesses that he's got growing successfully, and he's have the ability to now give out to others because he's chased that anxiety feeling. Um, One thing that anxiety can really do to you, or one, is essentially it could shut you down too. So you have to learn to realize, hey, am I in this anxiety feeling? Is this a permanent thing? Because it can lead to a depression. And I've been there where, I stop exercising. I don't even think about what I need to do for the day. I start late. Um, and it's because I'm trying to avoid that anxiety feeling. And um, maybe it's that maybe there's a meeting on my calendar, and I'm just like, okay, maybe I'll just cancel it. It's happened multiple times where I'm just like, I'd rather just not do this than go through it. And you need that like extra push, and you're not going to get it from weed. You're not going to get it from prescription drugs. Um, you're going to actually get help back that way. So if you have signs that you're really stopping your activity, signs that you're not going to the gym, signs that you're not doing your regular routine, that's whenever you need to realize, like, okay, what am I avoiding? Let's write it down. Let me write down everything I can as far as like top 3 things that are making me feel uncomfortable right now. And then write an action steps. Just say, okay, by this date, I'm going to do this. And talk to yourself as if it's going to be your next goal, and start recording those wins. So if you can get out of that slump that you're in, you're going to get right back on track, and you're probably going to do a lot better. Those crazy low feelings are something that you can utilize to your advantage. And I talk about this before, that terrible feeling always ends up, if you can push past it into a more successful, a better situation than you were even before the low even started. So that's how the growth is really starting, and we want to make sure that um, we keep constant monitoring on your routines. Maybe you measure it with an app. Maybe you measure it with pencil and paper. Either way, if you're starting to see that your routines are slacking, and things in your life, just basic things, chores are starting to go downhill as well, that's a good sign. Let's clear that out, write an action step, and get past it. So, um, kind of wrap it up. I want to really talk about maybe some different strategies to get out of it and different strategies to push through it. Um, I already mentioned routines. If you journal, I would suggest to maybe journal in the morning, write a couple bullet points of maybe your to-do list, write a goal for the day, and then at the end of the day, write down 1 or 2 wins, and you can have more, but at least have one where you can have one win and you can realize, hey, I'm on the trajectory up instead of just maintaining that status quo. Um, one one thing you have to do is you have to continue showing up. There were multiple days when I was in my business where, pushing flat broke, basically to the point where I'm wondering if this business can keep going. You have to keep showing up, and there's gonna be there could be a long period after that, as long as you're showing up, but it's going to fade away. You're going to have success. If you're going to keep doing something, whether that's meet with someone, make a phone call, you need to do one thing that day. And honestly, if you could do more than one thing, like just try to keep going consistently, and you'll be able to fade that entire feeling away. Um, let's see, the other things, like I said, collect your victories. You can do that with journaling. You can do that with just in general. Write down your victories per day. Make sure that you're keeping track, because every small victory in that low feeling, or every small victory, helps to get past that anxiety feeling. And then 2 last things is you can build some lists. So I have uh, probably, if you're watching on video, I've got 1, 2 iPad, 3 notebooks around. I'm not sure if that's just an ADD thing, or if it's efficient, because I've got, anywhere I look, I can write something down. So if I need a list, I'll write down a list. Be like, okay, this is what I need to do. Checklist your basic routine items. Get those off, and then add a couple in there that you just need to. Maybe one that's going to put you in a little bit of an uncomfortable feeling zone, and get that done. Use that as your goal for the day. And then lastly, if none of those are helping, what you really want to do is you want to see a psychologist. You want to see someone that's medically trained that can help you through those. Because if you're blocked so much to the point where you can't do anything, and you've lost every bit of structure and routine in your life, then you have to ask for help. And you're not going to get help from someone that's not medically trained. You're not going to get help from really, friends and family are going to give you their best thoughts, but you have to also appreciate that your friends and family most likely speak from an area of fear of their own lives. So you're going to get the advice that's going to be a little bit biased from them, and you're not going to get you might not get what you need. You might get a lot of good things, and they're out for um, the best for you. They want the best for you, but they're only going off of what they know, and maybe or maybe not. They probably didn't study it. So even if they studied it, they're still going to give you information based on you being their child or you being their friend. That could be a little bit. Maybe they didn't want to tell you something exactly how it is. So last but not least, ask for help. Find someone that's medically cleared to get that through, because you deserve to get through that anxiety feeling and see what's on the other side, because there's some really amazing things on that side. And I really do want everyone to experience it. And yeah, it's just something that has really affected me. I've seen it affect a lot of people in my life. So if we can kind of make us all aware of, hey, we're all supposed to go through it, set the expectations that, hey, that happens to everyone, then all in all, we have a brighter road ahead. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening. I really, really enjoy and am humbled by the amount of people that have come to me and said they really appreciate how the interviews have been coming, and they listen to the little tidbits of information that I've been doing. So it's a really cool experience. It's a great growth period. It's over the last 2 years. And yeah, can't wait to see you guys on the next one. See ya.